does love feel like? Allow that love, that feeling of love, to grow within you. Allow that love to shine from your heart out to your arms and your legs, up through the top of your head. And allow yourself to fully embrace that light and that love that you are. And be with that. Just be in that love and light. We know that we are God in expression, that we are divine love, and that we have the capacity to be present, to be compassionate, and to express that light in our daily lives. We set the intention now to be present to this moment, to the love in this room, to the joy of connection. And allow ourselves to be centered in that gratitude for all that we have and all that we are, as we take a few moments in the silence. And again, let's take a deep breath in and out. Let's take a moment and send that love that we are out to the people of this congregation, out to anyone who is needing healing and love. Send it out beyond that to the world, knowing that all the work that we do is a gift to us and to those we know and to the world. So once again, in gratitude, we just hold that light and love and know that we are the divine in expression. And so it is.
We are one. We are one. I am you, you are me, we are one. And in this unity, we all live in harmony, and peace has come, for we are one. We are one. We are one. I am you, you are me, we are one. And in this unity, we all live in harmony, and peace has come, for we are one. We are one. We all live in harmony, and peace has come. Oh, we are one. We are one. I am you, you are me. We are one. And in this unity, we all live in harmony, and peace has come. Oh, we are one, and peace has come. Oh, we are one, peace has come. Oh, we are one.
Thank you so much, Leslie. That is just so beautiful. And I'm always blown away by how the music connects with the talk, no matter what. It just feels like so God-led, right? That everything kind of comes together. And today, even the daily word really aligned with what happened when I started doing my research and started putting together this talk. So a while ago, I was at a church service, and one of the congregants stood up at the end and said, "We claim that in oneness, we are one. But what does that mean in the world?" And she was referring to the wars and the things that are going on and the heaviness and so much that we see. And she was really hurting, and you could see that. And it's so hard to answer that question in that way, right? Like, what's ours to do? How are we, what's ours to do? What's our steps to take? So I decided I'd do a deep dive and see what I could find about that. And to be honest, there was a part of me that was hoping to find the answer, right? To find something written somewhere that made it all clear and made it easy. But what I found is that oneness, the idea of oneness, is simple, but it's not an easy accomplishment. It's a lifelong practice, and it takes a lot of deep work. So I'm just going to share what I found, and maybe we can take this little journey together into living in oneness. I'd like to start with a story just to kind of bring us all together, and we all probably know this one. This is the Good Samaritan, the story of the Good Samaritan. So Jesus was out telling stories, and there's a lawyer there, and he's up, he's like, I'm going to test this dude, see what he's up to. And he says, "Teacher, what must I do to inherit eternal life? What is written in the law?" Oh, I'm sorry. And Jesus said to him, "What is written in the law?" What do you read there? You should love the Lord your God with all your heart, and with all your soul, and with all your strength, and with all your mind, and your neighbor as yourself. And then he says, well, who's my neighbor? Which brings us to the story. So Jesus replies, "A man was going down from Jerusalem to Jericho and fell into the hands of robbers, who stripped him, beat him, and went away, leaving him half dead. Now by chance, a priest was going down the road, and when he saw him, he passed to the other side. He went around him. So likewise, a Levite, when he came to the place and saw him, passed to the other side as well. But then a Samaritan, while traveling, came near him, and when he saw him, he was moved with pity. He went to him and bandaged his wounds, having poured oil and wine on them. Then he put him on his own animal, brought him to an inn, and took care of him. The next day, he paid the innkeeper and said, 'Take care of him, and when I come back, I will repay you whatever more you spend.' Which of these three do you think was a neighbor to the man who fell into the hands of the robbers?" And I feel like this is so important when we talk about oneness, because what makes this story so powerful is that Samaritans at that time were thought of as others. You know, those aren't the people that we hold high, and those are those people over there. Whereas the Levite and the priest are people that we hold high. But in that moment, the one who was called to take action was someone that he might not have expected to. And this to me speaks to the habit we all have of judgment, you know, of seeing someone and going, ooh, clothes, whatever brings it up. Maybe their personality, you go, oh, you know, go right to that judgment. And we don't know. We don't know who that person is, right? And this calls us to be open, to practice what we know to be true from our second unity principle, right? I am good because I am created from the divine, and everyone else is good as well. We all come from that divine essence. We are all one in that divine essence. So we can remember that, and we can step away from our first judgment or feeling and see deeper, and see the love, see the oneness. That's where the healing happens, and that's where we can truly come together. So that was kind of what struck me with that. So we are all one because we are created from divine spirit. And separation is an illusion. So one of the things I found was Emily Cady wrote a book called How I Use Truth. I had never heard of. I've studied a lot of the unity texts, but this one I'd never heard of. And she wrote, when you're one with life, you lose your sense of separateness, your sense of self. In the infinite flux of life, there is no separateness. There is only wholeness, only the many faces of the one. Give yourself to living, and you will find meaning, for you will be one with the one life. And so the big answer that I was looking for in all this is it starts with us. Like so many of our spiritual things, right? We have to do our work before we can step out and fix the world, you know? And when we are centered in that oneness, in that love, that's when we can find compassion and find what is ours to do in each step, in each place. So how do we get there? This is the fun part, right? This is the fun part, the work. So we have to get to where we can be centered in our oneness. We can see our divinity. We can see ourselves as divine love expressing. And that takes some work, right? Because we all have had experiences, we've all had things happen in our lives that color how we see ourselves and other people. And the only way to get to the truth is to look at all of those things that we're carrying around with us. There's a lot of work with the shadow self. And that's really those things about us that we are so afraid of seeing or allowing in our lives that we just push them away. But those are the things that get triggered when we see someone and we just automatically have that reaction, like, oof, no, or someone's maybe loud, or, gregarious, talking, woo, and we might be like, oh, I can't be seen. So we're like, I don't like that person, right? That has nothing to do with that person. It has everything to do with whatever it is within us that we're trying to hide or trying to push away. And that's where the work comes in, because that's where we can look within and say, wow, I'm having a real strong reaction to this thing, this idea, this person, this situation. What is that coming from? What's the feeling I'm having? Is there something that in my past where I may have felt this way? What am I making this mean about me? That's a big one. And then through feeling all of that stuff and naming it and seeing it, then we can finally start healing. And through healing, we get to love. Understanding, compassion. If we can see what's causing our pain, then we can see that in others as well. If we can accept ourselves as we are and accept those things, then we can see them in other people and accept them as well. So that's the work, is really going in there, really being aware, noticing when the feelings come up, and being willing to sit with the feeling and not make it their fault. You know, something out there. Being able to go, ooh, this is really coming up for me. What does this mean? What do I need to look at this time? And the cool thing about it is, as you do shadow work, as you go through and you heal those spaces kind of shrink away a little bit, right? When I was teaching the youth, I'd always say, if someone said to you, you're a frog, you'd be like, I'm not a frog, whatever, you know? But if someone says to you, oh, you're not smart, you might be like, oh, you know, because that's something that you're afraid of, something that you're thinking about. Oh, yeah, that's true. Oh. But once you get to the point where you're like, you know what, I'm who I am, and I like who I am. I am intelligent. They might not get me, but I know I am. When they say that to you the next time, you're like, that's, you know, you don't have to see who I am. I know who I am. I'm not a frog, right? And that's the beauty of this work, is that you can look at those triggers and you can learn from what's coming up, and then you won't be triggered in the same way. And that sounds super easy again, right? But we know it's work, and we know that it will come up again and again and again until we really process it, until we really feel it and really release it. But imagine if everyone could do this work, if everyone could get to that place of genuine love for ourselves, and then be able to express that love and compassion outwardly, how much we could change the energy. Just change the energy of the people around us, the world. I mean, to see a place where people are coming from love, to me that is heaven, right? When we can see that, when we have, instead of getting stuck in fear or anger or hate, we can go, I see the Christ in you. I might not agree with everything you choose to do, but I know that the Christ is within you. I know that you are Christ expressing, and be able to find that compassion. One of the things that I learned when I was doing shadow work that really stuck with me was this idea that if my life had been different, if I'd been raised differently, if I'd been born in a different place, maybe I would be just like that person that I might be judging. Right? We don't know. We don't know what that person's been through. We don't know. And we all have within us all of the aspects of humanity. So if I can say that, wow, I could be there, then that takes that judgment out, right? And allows us to come from a place of compassion. Wow, they must be really scared. They must be really hurting. And once again, it's not about just being like, I don't see anything bad happening. It's more about being in the love. How do I respond from love to whatever this is, to whatever's in front of me? And that's the trick, I think, responding from love. Because when we're stuck in our stuff, or we're stuck in fear or hate, that's what we're putting out in the world. You can't help it, right? That's where we are. If we are in judgment and fear about somebody, then us trying to come to them and fix it is only going to be more of that, judgment and fear. But if we can do our work and get to love and allow all of our thoughts, actions, ideas, all that to be guided by that divine love, then when we step forward, that's what we're going to be coming from. I have, there's a young man that I work with occasionally, and he is the most positive kid. He's probably in his 20s, and he's so positive. And no matter what's going on, he stays in that space. He's a manager of Starbucks. Okay, yeah, I know. I talk about Starbucks a lot, but he's a manager there. And he's so nice, and he's so kind, and so loving. And he doesn't get caught up in the, oh, wow, that person was this and this and this. You know, he's just like, you know what, they must have been having a bad day today. You know, how can we make their day better? And we were talking one day, and asking him, like, how do you stay so positive? Because he just makes everything feel better. And he said, well, he says, I do what I can, and what I can't do, I give to God. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Wise beyond his years, right? Just when we're in that space where we aren't quite ready, where we're still feeling anger, where we're still feeling fear. Fear's a big one. Which fear, I believe that fear is like the basis of all those other things. So when we're stuck in that, sometimes maybe we need to step back and say, okay, for right now, I need to give this to God. This isn't mine to do right now, right? I really need to give this to God. Maybe sit in prayer, meditation, do some affirmations, do something to get yourself back to, I'm releasing this to God. In fact, I did that with this talk because oneness is scary. When you think about it, that means I have to love everyone, you know? That means I can't see something terrible happening and go, all those people suck, I hate them, you know? But there's still the pain and there's still all this stuff there. So it's hard. How do you like come to a place of acceptance with that? And I kept going the last 2 weeks. All right, God, I'm giving this to you. Let me understand this, you know, help me out. And it just kept coming back to love. You know, that's ours to do, is to love and to do our work. Because the more centered in love we can be, the more love we can give. And that's how we heal, and that's how we give space to others to heal as well, is through that love. Right? And that's not always a satisfying answer, you know? But it's true. And there's actually a quote from Charles Fillmore. Sorry, I have to find it now, because I'm totally off on a different thing. Anyway, I'll just have to just summarize that. Oh, there's, okay. So in the law, Charles Fillmore spoke about the law of spirit. And he said, it is the law of spirit that we must be that which we would draw to us. If we would draw to us love, we must be love. We must be loving and kind. If we would have peace and harmony in our environment, we must establish it within ourselves. And if we want to express oneness, we need to be oneness. And we need to establish it in ourselves. And release fear, release judgment. Be forgiving, compassionate. And allow all of that to show up for us. And once again, this doesn't mean hiding our heads. And this doesn't mean we don't have a calling. But what it does mean is that it's up to us to listen within and be open to what is ours to do. It might be that we're being called to prayer. For some of us, it might be something more. But it's for each individual to find that within themselves and listen And you'll know, because as you probably all know, when that call comes, it's there, right? Sometimes things come to my head. I'm like, should I share this? But I'm going to share it. So in our area, we have a lot of unhoused people, and it's heartbreaking. And I want to help everyone. And sometimes I can't. Sometimes I'm not in that space. But sometimes I get that call, and I'm like, oh, I have a jacket in the back of my car. I have $5, and I trust that. I try to really trust that that is God coming through me going, this person is your person. This is the person you get to help today. And maybe on other days it's not my opportunity. I don't want to say my turn because I wish I could help anyone. But maybe it's not mine to do that day. But there are things that are mine to do. And so being willing, being open, being listening within, and trusting, all of that's important. So that we can be that love. So we can be confident that we are showing up in our best way possible. A lot of this is about forgiving, and I have a poem that I really love that I found also. This is from Best Loved Unity Poems, and it's by Bonnie Day. And it starts with, Father, what lifts the weight that is pressing so sorely and so long? Child, 'twas the weight of your own condemnation, the self-inflicted load that burdened you. By your own act of reconciliation, you are forgiven too. For while you held your brother as a debtor, your bitter thinking shackled your own soul. The self-same act that broke for him the fetter has made you free and whole. And so what I get from that is when we're holding on to anger, when we're holding on to holding people in debt, we all know this, we're holding ourselves in that space as well. And when we can come back to, I see the divine in you. I see the love that you are. I am holding love as I step forward. Then we can release those negative feelings, and we can come forward so much stronger, so much freer to express the truth of who we are. So as we step forward, the living in oneness is about intention. The intention to see the best in each person, the intention to check in with ourselves and see what's coming up, and hold the best for ourselves as well, see the Christ that we are. It's about forgiveness, it's about compassion, forgiveness for ourselves as well as others, compassion, and being open to listening to what is ours to do. So I'd love to end with just a prayer here to kind of bring it all together. So I invite you to get still and know that this isn't always easy to be love, to see all the love around us, but it's so important because we are love. The divine through us is love. The divine through others is love as well. And that which we focus on is what we create. So as you step forward, I invite you just to be open, to listen to what comes up for you, to listen to what you want and what you are looking to create. And have faith. Have faith in yourself and in the world. And keep showing up as love. And we move forward with gratitude as we say thank you. And so it is. Amen. Thank you.